Hello, my name is Courtney Taylor L., and I am the Associate Vice President of Program Services for Girls Inc. of Metropolitan Dallas and Dallas, Texas. I'm excited to talk a little bit more about our experience in utilizing the Agile methodology in youth development programming. Girls Inc. of Metropolitan Dallas was introduced to Scrum and the Agile methodology through Agile and nonprofits and through our corporate partnership with Capital One back in 2021. I want to pinpoint that project management was a very new concept for many of us as we navigated a new way of managing the ever changing world of youth development at the height of the pandemic. Our organization recognized the importance of agility and wanted to be pioneers in the youth development space. So we uncomfortably embraced Scrum boards. The platform we experimented with was Asana. We started with our leadership team through a youth-friendly exercise of origami. I know that a lot of people are thinking, how do you use Scrum and origami to help solidify understanding of the Agile methodology? I'll tell you a little bit more about that. So our VP of Program Services actually was the first to introduce us to this project. She created a Scrum board using Asana that allowed us as a leadership team to walk through the different steps in which to achieve making different types of origami. Each step required us to work closely together, acknowledge when someone was completed in order to be able to pick up the next task, and recognizing that there were going to be obstacles or impediments that would hinder our ability to move forward without considering those impediments. As we were able to work through this project, we recognized the challenges that we would need to embrace. And it was a great way for us to be introduced to a very basic level of Scrum. With this basic level of understanding, we challenged ourselves to use our new teachings to address organizational culture. I mentioned earlier that we had a partnership with both Agile and nonprofits, as well as Capital One. Capital One was able to provide some pro bono support to Girls Inc. of Metropolitan Dallas with the support of their project management teams. And we were given a coach to support us as we address organizational culture from different perspectives. One of those teams was focused on our onboarding processes, while another team was focused on the culture of collaboration and accountability that we hope to instill upon our organization as a whole. In doing this, we challenged ourselves to participate in all aspects of Scrum. This included creating our boards, identifying every single story that we hope to accomplish throughout this experience, and then also being able to participate in sprints and identifying what parts of our Agile methodology we wanted to embrace in order to ensure that everybody got an opportunity to not only learn, but practice the Agile methodology. As we work very closely with the Capital One project manager, we met on a weekly basis to address what progress that we had made along the way. We were able to identify that this was a very fascinating process and that it was okay not to be able to check all of the boxes. What you will recognize in using Scrum boards is that you do get the opportunity to say that a task is done. I think that it was the most gratifying experience for all of us as we recognized that we had a lot on our plates, and taking it one bite size at a time was ideal in utilizing the Agile methodology. Our practice with the Scrum boards was very fascinating. I wondered how we could transfer our knowledge to our programs department in particular. I mentioned that this is about Agile and youth development programming. And so our programs were directly focused on youth serving programs for girls. And so we wanted to put together a plan in order to execute on the utilization of Scrum boards and the Agile methodology. We were given guidance to participate in online training through LinkedIn Learning to learn more about project management first. By participating in this training, it gave us a unique understanding of the history of project management and what steps it took to bring a very large program or process from planning stages to fruition. Upon completing this training, our department used project management to begin planning our annual youth-facing conference, Power to the Girl. With such a big scale project, we were able to learn a lot about agility and being extremely flexible when stories didn't go according to plan. We were successful, I must say, in hosting our second annual conference using the Agile framework. With the utilization of our Scrum board, we were able to break down the different steps for not only our department, but for all of the departments that we collaborated with along the way. the cross-functional departmental work that is very necessary in nonprofit work in order to achieve goals. Because you're utilizing such limited resources, it's important to recognize all of the pieces and all of the people that go into place in order to ensure the success of a project that you're working on. In doing so, we saw the benefits of scaling to smaller projects. We were able to slowly begin to introduce to our department small projects in which we could utilize the Asana boards that were beneficial to practicing Scrum. We started with lesson planning, which is something that is very important in youth development programming, and having our team members identify which lessons they would work on and move their stories across the board, and recognizing their progress, their impediments, who was responsible for what, who needed to approve what, in order for us to achieve success in being able to meet the goals of each of those projects. We saw ourselves slowly move into other aspects of programming, from building out a program from the ground up to preparing for upcoming camps, and the list goes on and on. I will say that this has been one of the greatest experiences that I have had, recognizing that Scrum, project management are buzzwords right now in the industry of project management, and did not recognize how important it was for nonprofits, despite limited resources, to be able to have access to such a framework to be able to scale the work that we're doing and be open to the many changes that are taking place within the world of nonprofit. I'm excited for the direction that we'll continue to go, and I'm happy to share that I'll be participating in the Scrum Master credentialing with Agile and Nonprofit in order to continue my education and support the growth that I hope that Girls Inc. of Metropolitan Dallas gets to experience as a result of participating in Agile and nonprofits. I'm hoping that not only will we be able to continue our work in our programs department, but as an organization, we get to serve as a premier trendsetter and what the benefits are of using the Agile methodology looks like, especially as pertains to providing awesome programming for children across the Girls Inc. program. Thank you so much for your participation, and looking forward to answering any questions.